We're going to start today's practice on our bellies in crocodile pose. And if you have a blanket, we will eventually be transitioning to half frog. So have it close by, or you could even have it because your knee will come out to the side. So you can have it close by or already pre-positioned out slightly from your mat, about hip distance out. In crocodile pose. So allow the forehead to drop on top of your hands. Belly and hips connected to the earth. Checking in to your breath and your body. Beginning to slow down, creating the separation from where you were before coming to class, before coming to the mat, to being here and now. And for the entirety of today's practice, really just feeling into your breath and following your breath and going at whatever pace feels right for you. I'll be suggesting some movements. And maybe you take those offerings, or maybe you stay in another pose that you feel called for. So feel free to do that. And feel the connections into the earth. You know, your forehead on your hands on the mat on the floor and the foundation to the earth beneath. The hips, legs. Feeling the gentle rise as your belly presses into the ground with each inhale. And sinking a little bit deeper. Melting in with each exhale. And take about 3 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, if you're ready, slowly lift your head. Allow the elbows to come beneath the shoulders as we transition into Sphinx pose. So in Sphinx pose, the fingertips point forward. Shoulders over the elbows. And a gentle drawing in of the belly away from the mat into the spine. And this is one where if you have a pillow or a blanket, it might feel good to have it just in front of the hips to help give you a little bit extra support. Otherwise, draw in. Take your right ear to the right shoulder. Feeling a gentle stretch on the left side neck. Then allowing the chin to roll down. Painting the collarbones from the right to the left. And then left ear, left shoulder. Breathing into the sensation, the right side neck. And continuing on your own, painting that smile. And feeling whatever feels right. Maybe there's one side neck that needs a little extra attention, little curiosity as you explore, allowing the chin to rise up and down. Moving to whatever side feels right for you. Maybe even allowing a little release of the jaw, a type of like glub glub like motion. And then back to center, Allow the right knee to start to glide up for half frog pose. So the foot becomes flexed. And again, this might be where it feels really good to have a blanket underneath that right knee. And again, whatever, raising up, whatever spot feels good for you, linger in, and maybe it doesn't feel good at all, or maybe having it slightly extended out feels better. Maybe pressing back a little bit again, feeling that belly drawing up towards the spine. And then stretching into the right shoulder, we take the right hand and thread it underneath the left side. You can walk the left fingertips out. Then maybe allowing the head to rest on the mat or a block. Exploring what feels right for you. Maybe when walking the left fingertips out, bringing the arm towards straight. Maybe the fingertips walk over towards and beyond the right side of your mat. What feels good for you in this moment? Not trying to be aggressive, but being in that place where we can still breathe with the same calm and peace we did when we started class on our bellies in crocodile pose. Couple more breaths. Breathing into the right arm, the right shoulder. And then allowing that left arm to return back towards Sphinx pose. Unthreading the right arm. Return that forearm back so fingertips are forward. And this time threading that left hand under and through so the left shoulder comes down to the ground. And then you may feel called to naturally open up so the right arm reaches up and over for a twist. Opening the heart up towards the sky. Arm maybe hovering above the ground, gravity pressing down on it, or resting maybe on your ribs or your hip. Stay here for about 3 more breaths. And slowly unwind back to our Sphinx pose. So right arm comes down to the mat first, then left arm. Right knee glides on back. Then left knee. So you might need to adjust your blanket and pulling it out towards that left side. You can wiggle the hips left and right to just kind of reset the lower back. And then left knee glides up. Half frog pose on the left side. Maybe pressing back, belly drawing up slightly off the mat. So really feeling that connection of the hips, especially that right hip into the earth. Tops of the right toes pressing into the ground. Maybe picturing a release already. Throughout today's practice, something you want to release that does not serve you as we enter different heart openers, such as this one, to allow light, allow some love to shine on in. Then thread the left hand underneath the right arm, maybe walking the forearm out to help give you a little bit extra space. And again, go into whatever capacity feels okay for you. Maybe having a block under the forehead to help prop it up. Arms extend, right arm maybe extends and walks forward, and possibly even over to the top left corner of the mat. Breathe into the deep sensations you might be feeling, but backing off if it ever comes to that point of pain. That means you're going too far, you're being too aggressive, and that's your body's alarm that something is wrong. So listen. A few more breaths here. And begin by allowing that right arm to return to Sphinx pose, walking it in, forearm connected to the earth, palm connected to the earth. Chest raises up, belly comes up to create some space, returning back to Sphinx arms. And then threading through the right arm, or right arm threads through as we enter into our twist. So first, walk the right fingertips out towards the left, maybe allowing the right shoulder to come down, and then right hand lifting up and over, and just allow the back, as if it naturally wants to open and turn, to allow the heart to open, allow it. Arm maybe up, maybe hovering, or maybe connected to your left hip, or even just feeling your ribs on the left side. With each inhale, and feeling it fall with each exhale. And just this beauty of breath. Allow the support of a twist to ring out. Again, anything that's not serving you today. Three more breaths here. And slowly, when you're ready, start to roll on back. Left arm assumes Sphinx pose. Right arm comes back to Sphinx pose. Left leg comes back to meet the right. In oscillating cobra, take the fingertips out to about 10 and 2. Big inhale. Hips press into the ground. Chest raises up, up, up. Exhale and lower. We're doing 5 on your own. As you inhale, you press into the earth. You raise up. And exhale, coming down. Like water, rippling up and flowing down. That's 3. 2 more. Last one, coming up. And back down. Very nice. Arms are going to reach back behind you, preparing for locust pose. So if the pinkies, they really try to grab one another, they might, they probably won't. Then you inhale, the chest raises up off the ground. Arms reach back for the heels, maybe even the feet come off the ground. Feeling into the breath for 3, For 2 and 1. Hands return underneath the shoulders, upward facing dog. So tops of the feet press into the mat, arms press into the ground, and then chest raises up. So you're pressing into the tops of the feet. The knees are lifted. If you feel compression in the lower back, bend the elbows and come into cobra pose. But otherwise hold for 3, for 2, on 1. Allow the hips to come down. Keep that arch in the back. And then arms reach back. Locust pose. Maybe notice any difference in the opening now versus when we first started. Hands come beneath the shoulders. Press your way back to child's pose. So hips raise back, nice and slow. Hips reach towards the heels. Maybe they reach, maybe they don't. You may wish to have a tuck of the toes here. Whatever feels right. Maybe again allowing the head to connect to the earth. Maybe even palms opening up, thumbs pointing out, pinkies facing one another. Receptive to something above. Slowly press your way up to a seated position. In our seated position, sometimes it's nice to have the hips elevated. So if you do have the blanket, you may wish to fold it up or sit on a block. And we'll begin in Sukhasana, or easy pose, with our right leg in front. Take your hands to your heart, thumbs connected to the chest. Maybe feeling if you can feel a beat. Just otherwise knowing it's there. And then begin to create some heat, allowing the hands to rub. Quicker and quicker. Getting that sense of heat and energy. And then stop and hover the hands about an inch away from another. And just feel that energy you created. And bring it in and press it on your heart. Feel the warmth. And feel your own love. Linger here. Allowing this nurturing of self and cultivating your own love for yourself. And then hands come out again, rubbing one another, creating that energy, that force. And then out towards one another in the space, sending it out to everyone in here. For someone else might be needing that love today. Bringing it in one more time. For another 3. For 2. On 1, hands reach up towards the sky, sending it out and beyond to someone, somewhere that's asking for it. And then coming into a forward fold, hands come to the earth. Walk them forward. Getting into some sensation in the hip. Here for another 3. for 2. On 1, slowly walk the hands back in towards your body. We'll take the left leg and open it up for kind of like this half bear. So foot planted on the ground, and you can either have your arm on the outside and just gently twist open towards our right. If it feels better to have the arm inside, maybe grabbing at the ankle and having the right hands walk back. Just really feeling into this opening, kind of that left groin area, lengthening the spine. Maybe it feels good to use that right hand to press down on the right knee. Kind of explore around if you feel like kind of wiggling around. You can do a little bit of like circling, just kind of the freedom of the moment, freedom of your body. Left leg extends out straight. Sole of the right foot comes in towards the inner thigh. And then forward folding over that extended left leg. Hands walk towards the shin, maybe the toes. Think about nose to toes to help create a long spine. Keeping the collarbones up, the heart up. And then transitioning to Wild Thing. So right arm comes back, we roll over onto the right shin, hips move up towards the sky, left arm lifts up for 3 times. You inhale, you reach and extend. Exhale, you return back down. Inhale, pressing into that right hand, rolling onto the right shin, up, 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 hips forward, and back down. One more time, rolling, reaching, stretching, and return. Now allowing the left leg to curl on in, so the left shin is in front of the right shin, forward fold once again as we transition to our opposite side. Maybe already noticing a difference in one side, one hip versus the other, and being okay with that. We're shaped by our experiences, and our experience shape us, but we're exactly where we need to be. Another 3, last 2, and 1, walking back up. This time the right foot stomps out to a kind of half bear sit. And again, maybe the arm feels comfortable on the outside, maybe it feels good on the inside, right hand clasping the right ankle. And then twisting out over our left. So either the arm kind of walks out and back, maybe it presses down on that left knee. What feels good for you in this moment? Long spine, chest open, heart open. Feeling into the right hip. Or wherever else you're feeling the sensation. And very nice. Unwind. Extend that right leg out. Sole of the left foot maybe walks in towards the inner thigh. Shifting our torso so it faces that right foot. And then nose to toes. Chest comes down. Hands reach for maybe the shin. Maybe the ankle. Maybe you have a strap and that helps you. Or maybe you can reach the toes. Kindness for our bodies and recognition that we are where we are because of everything we've accomplished up this far. 2 more breaths. And setting up for our wild thing, slowly roll your way back up. Left arm reaches behind your left hip, and then rolling onto that left shin, right arm comes towards the sky, hips reach up, up, up. Arm reaches out, and big stretch, come on back down. We'll do 2 more. Big inhale, hips up and out, arm stretching that right side body. And exhale down. Last one, big stretch. And release it back. Very nice. Allow the knees to come in. Arms to reach back and just windshield wiper the legs. To the right, to the left, the right, the left, and back to center. And then right into pigeon pose. So it might feel good to windshield wiper them to the left first, scoot your hip over to the left side of your mat, and then the right leg comes out and then back. If you're not quite ready for pigeon pose yet today, you can take just the knee. So the right knee comes to where the left heel is. Otherwise, if you can, come into our pigeon pose, go for it. Maybe having a blanket underneath the knee, or even the top of the right thigh can feel really good. And stay upright for just a little bit, thinking about this tucking sensation of the hips, keeping yourself forward. And then when you're ready to surrender, allow the body to come on down, the hands to come down. Maybe resting on a block, a bolster, a blanket, a pillow. Maybe back to those Sphinx arms feels good. Back toes can be pointed. Perhaps a blanket under the left hip to help keep that elevated feels good too. But otherwise, really send your breath to that left glute. Wherever the sensation you feel it most strong, allow it to soften. Give it permission to soften. Welcome you to even close your eyes, or take the heel of your palm and place it on your upper cheekbone under your eye, and allow the palms to cover the eyeballs to really, take away that sense of sight and get into that sense of feel. If you have sinus issues, this is also a way to help alleviate some sinus pressure. Maybe emotions come up through this pose. And just take note of them. But don't allow them to, distract from being present in your body. Feel your breath, follow your breath. For 6, 5, 4, last 3, relaxing 2, slowing down 1, and coming back up. Release your hands if they were covering your eyes. Maybe just feel into the moment, integrating back into the space. Shifting your weight onto the left side. Allow the right knee to come up to join the left. Maybe windshield wiper the knees once again. And then scooting the hips over to the right side of your mat this time. Allow the knees to fall to the right. And then this time the left leg extends back. And again, maybe it doesn't go through a full extension and you keep it bent almost like a 90-90 or a deer pose with the left knee into the right sole of the foot. What feels good for you? Maybe having that blanket to prop up the right hip. Help keep it elevated. Inhale, finding that slight tuck of the tail, this length in the spine first, the sensation in our left hip flexor. And then surrendering into the pose, surrendering into the moment, into the space, into the place. Noticing again some differences, left side versus right side. And that's okay. What feels good for you? Maybe you have your front shin parallel to the front of the mat with the toe flexed. Maybe the toes pointed more at a 90-degree angle. Depending on your flexibility, depending on your anatomy, it's all cool. Again, we'll stay here for several breaths. So find your space, and maybe it felt really good to block out your eyes. It may feel even good to take the thumbs into the ears and block the ears and the eyes. So not only are you blocking out the vision, you're blocking out the sound, getting rid of those two senses to come in to the body, to you. Permission to soften, permission to release, allowance to let go. Stay with the body, reminding the brain where you are. And it's not in the past, and it's not in the future. It's right here. And what's going on right here, right now. Stick with it for another 6. Soften for 5. Release for 4. Last 3. Sinking down 2. Relax into 1. Very nice. Slowly come on back, come on back. Remove the props off to the side. Maybe take the feet wide to the edges of the mat, arms come back behind you. Some gentle windshield wipers here, whatever intuitively feels good. And then coming onto our knees. So again, we'll spend some time on our knees here. So if you have some kind of support or cushion that feels good, as we get into our tabletop pose, go ahead and prepare your space. And maybe taking the knees a little bit wider than we normally do, where, before we try to have them about like hip level, have them wide. Have the hands even come a little bit wider, and then allow some circles left and then right, whatever intuitively feels good, maybe coming forward and back. Some barrel rolls as the belly drops and rounds one direction, and then switching. Again, this is your practice, your opportunity to explore your body and the movements that it feels drawn to in certain poses. And then left knee towards the center of your mat. Right knee raises up and comes down, creating some circles with the knee, maybe some popping or clicking. As long as it doesn't hurt, it's okay. Switching directions. And then keeping it up, out to the side, we extend the right leg, plant it on the ground. I'll turn to the side so you can see a little bit better. Right foot plants on the ground, and then arms reach on up. Very nice. Moving over towards our extended leg, right arm reaches down, left arm reaches out and over. And left fingertips towards the mat, right arm reaches up. Flowing through this 3 times, feeling what feels good for you. Going maybe faster than me, maybe slower. What does your body need right now in this moment? And then planting the right hand down, sweeping that right leg back and all the way across. Gazing out over the left shoulder, looking at our toes way back there. Feeling that extension in the right side ribs. Maybe you have the balance to even feel them by taking the left hand and placing them on the side. And then gaze to the center of the mat. Return the left hand if it's not there already. And then right knee comes to join the left. And then switching sides. And if your wrists start to hurt, you can always come down onto your knuckles. Or if you have blocks, like 2 blocks, grabbing the blocks can feel pretty yummy too. So left side, we raise the left knee up. And again, warming up with some circles. Creating some lubrication in our hip joint, maybe exploring a range of motion that we don't normally do in our day-to-day lives. Switching directions. One more circle, and then hold that left knee up, extend that left leg out, and coming into our gate pose, hands maybe come to the hips first, hips come forward, and then right arm reaches out and over, left arm reaching down towards that extended leg. And then just like the last side, right fingertips towards the ground. Maybe you touch the ground, maybe you don't. Maybe there's a block there. Like water, we move, we flow. Last set. And then coming on back. So from here, we allow the hands to come back to the earth. And then that left leg raises up, sweeps all the way around, back over towards the right side, gaze out over the right shoulder. And then look at the toes way back there. And then maybe even allowing the right hand to lift up to feel the extension in our left side body. Holding ourselves, a gentle hug. Maybe you can feel it, maybe you can't, it's okay. And coming on back. Bring that left knee in. Back to child's pose. You have the option to keep the knees in as they are or take them out wide. What feels right for you? We'll spend about 3 breaths here. And with each breath, really feel in the compression of this pose where your breath is. When we're compressed, where do we have space to still breathe? Maybe you feel it in your chest against your thighs, maybe it's your belly. Just bringing awareness to the body. There's not a right answer. And coming up onto all fours once again. We'll take the right foot and step it towards our right pinky. Maybe you have to haul it up there. And then walk the left toes back as we find ourselves in lizard lunge. And again, this is a pose that it might feel good. You might need to adjust your blanket, have it underneath the knee. You can have the knee up, you can have the knee down, you can even have a block on your thigh to help take some of the pressure off. Then you can rock around, rock and roll, kind of wiggle into it. What feels good? Some opening, extension into the left hip flexor, the right groin. Maybe coming down onto the elbows if that's in your capacity, or a block, or your blanket. And then if the knees raise, go ahead and allow it to return to the earth. Walking your fingertips up, right hand comes to the thigh, left hand comes to meet it. Maybe you need to adjust your stance a little bit to have a little bit more stability. Maybe you need to widen it. And then arms reach up towards the sky, gaze up. Picture this orb of energy and light and love. And exhale, bring it into your heart. Inhale, arms reach out. And you could bring it into your heart as you are, or think half splits. Allow the hips to come back as the hands come to the heart and the right leg comes towards straight. Okay, so whatever feels good for you. Inhale, coming up. Gaze, see what it is you're bringing into your heart. Coming back. 3 more. In. Finding that connection. Last one. And when you bring it in, maybe lingering in the half splits for a little bit, allowing the hands to come to the earth, maybe a block. Then bend into the front knee. Hands return to the earth. Right foot steps back as the right knee comes back on to the same line, that same plane as your left. As we move to our left side. So lizard lunge, right or left foot comes to meet left pinky, finding your movement of exploration. Maybe the knees on the ground. Maybe you're on the ball of the foot. Rocking front and back, kind of exploring that range, finding that point that's really interesting for you. Lingering there. Again, maybe you have the blanket or bolster underneath your knee or a block underneath that right thigh. Option to come down to the forearms. Maybe you even feel called to have that front leg, that front foot roll on the pinky toe edge of the foot and create a little opening for the front leg. Your practice, your body, your sensations, your thresholds. You are your teacher. You tell your body what it can do and what it can't do in this moment. Listening to any alarms. And backing off if you need to. Three more breaths. Softening, lengthening. And if that right leg is lifted, go ahead, allow the knee to come in. Maybe you need to walk the knee a little bit forward as you prepare. Allow the left hand to come to the left thigh, the right arm to come up to meet it, a slight tuck of the tail as we find our stance in this low lunge. And then again, arms up, look up, grab that energy, the love, and bring it on in. Maybe staying in this pose, or arms reach up, grab that energy, bring it to your heart, sink the hips back for half splits. And up, arms up, bring it on in, your breath, your movement, your body. 3 more. Your fluidity. Last one, we reach up, bringing it on in, sinking it on back, and maybe staying and allowing our hands to give us support. Forgot to mention, if you feel called for like the full splits, you're always welcome. Anytime I say half splits, to go there if you want to. Nice. And coming on out of it, we bend into the front knee, hands plant inside. Left knee returns back to the left, and then we sink back onto our heels, allowing maybe a graze of our thighs, checking in. Interlace the fingers in front of us. Big exhale, flip the hands round the back. Inhale, opening, arms reach up, keeping that clasp. Exhale, curl it on in, round it on in. Allow the head to drop. 3 more. Inhale, opening, allowing the heart to shine and closing it off, holding it on in. 2 more, opening and rounding, belly drawing in and up, in and up. Last one. And rounding it out. Hands come down to the ground. Walk yourself into, we're going onto our backs. Come onto your back, however it feels right for you. We'll take the blanket or block and we'll hug it in between our knees. Our arms come out to a T, and then drop the knees over towards the right side. Right palm is up towards the sky, and the left palm comes over to meet it. Give it a little high five. So we're laying on our right hip, our right side. Then walk the left fingertips forward as far as we can, staying in line with the right hand. And then grazing the ground, creating this kind of quarter circle. Arms reach up above. Three breaths here. Finding stretch, finding strength, finding relaxation. Last 2. And 1. Return the left palm to the right. And then rolling onto our backs. Keeping the blanket hugged in between the legs. Fall on over towards our left side. So left palm is up towards the sky. Right palm comes to kiss it and then walks away. Fingertips walking out, out, out. Maybe allowing the left temple to rest upon the ground. And then creating this quarter circle. So grazing the fingertips around and up, bicep towards the ear if that feels good. Reaching for 3. Relaxing for 2. And your last 1. Allow the right hand to return back to meet the left. Coming on to our soles, keep connected to the ground. An option to keep the blanket or block or bolster, whatever it is, in between your legs as we set up for bridge pose. 3 soft bridges. Heels walk in towards the fingertips. Big inhale. Hips gently raise towards the sky. Exhale and back down, squeezing the inner thighs in towards one another. We lift up, rolling onto the tops of the back shoulders. We come back down. Last one, lifting up, holding for 3. Last 2 and 1. Allow the hips to return to the mat. Remove whatever it is, if it is between your legs. And for Shavasana today, you can take our traditional version or walk the feet to the edges of the mat. Allow the knees to hug in and touch one another. An invitation to take one hand on the heart and one on the belly. Connecting to our breath, to our body, and this feeling of being held. For we don't always have someone to hold us when we need it, but we have hands, we have arms, and we can give that love and fulfill that need with our own touch. Soften the face, the jaw, unclench the teeth. With each exhale, relax a little more. Sink in. And soften. Again, the thoughts may arise. Remind them of where you are right now. Again, it's not in the past. And it's not in the future of something that hasn't happened yet. It's here. Rolling onto the side. Maybe the blanket between the legs again. And the head resting in the nook of one of your arms, curled up in this fetal position. Safe and held. If there's a message you want to send to somebody, go ahead and send it. With the clear path and sealing the letter with a little tap on the ground as the conduit. And when you're ready, slowly push yourself up to a seated position. Allow the shoulders to melt down away from the ears. Again, keeping the face soft. Checking in with the spine. Checking in with your heart. Love for self. Love for others. And then please join me in 3 closing, cleansing breaths. Arms reach out to the side and up. Big inhale. Audible exhale. Heart center. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. I want to thank you for joining me on today's yoga journey. Namaste. Thank you.